Last week on One Take, we had asked this question whether there's ever going to be a possibility of the TMC and the BJP to come together. And in fact, I had also mentioned that a Modi-led BJP may not be suitable for the Trinamool Congress's change of heart. Well, this week I'm staying with West Bengal for reasons other than the fact that it's my home state. We're talking about a churning which is taking place within the Trinamool Congress. In fact, that generational change churning in the TMC has been going on for a very, very long time. But the resignation of Partha Chatterjee actually seems to have set the cue and the pace for almost a change of guard. And that's the question I'm asking this week. Is there a rise of Abhishek Banerjee increasingly over the next few weeks and months? Was Partha Chatterjee's resignation announced by Abhishek Banerjee at a press conference after Mamata Banerjee had announced his resignation or removal as a minister? Message sent out to the party cadre that Abhishek Banerjee means business. And is the old guard of the TMC comfortable in doing business with Abhishek Banerjee? Or will there be a kind of G23 in the TMC as well? Well, let us cut to the day when Partha Chatterjee was removed as a minister. That announcement was made by Mamata Banerjee because she is the chief minister of the state, and it was just moments after the cabinet meeting was ended. There was just a simple notification which was issued which mentioned the portfolios which Mamata Banerjee is going to hold additional charge of, and these portfolios were also with Partha Chatterjee at some point of time. A good hour and a half later, it was followed up by a press conference by Abhishek Banerjee. The entire focus was on the removal of Partha Chatterjee. Clear cut, very curt, and making the point. But the underlying message was that he was the one who ensured that Partha Chatterjee was removed from the party, from all the posts of the party. The only thing Abhishek Banerjee said was that if tomorrow he gets a clean chit, only then he can come back to a TMC. But all of this kind of reflects a change which is taking place in the Trinamool Congress. Look, it is as no surprise for those who are watching the developments in Bengal and the politics of the state right from the last state elections that Abhishek Banerjee is the heir apparent of Mamata Banerjee. He has been sharing stage with her. In many key campaigns, he's been the one who's leading the charge, whether we saw it in Goa, whether we saw it in Tripura. But so far, Abhishek Banerjee has held a step back, understanding that the TMC's genesis and success is only because of that one woman who happens to be Mamata Banerjee. So you always notice that when Mamata Banerjee is on stage, Abhishek Banerjee either stays away or he's completely in the background. But slowly, his coming out becoming more and more apparent. I remember during the Bengal elections, many were talking about the fact that there seems to be a rift between the two of them. It's also a fact that with all those ED cases and him being under a scanner, there were many who within the party felt that Mamata Banerjee must maintain that distance from him, because why give that leverage to the BJP that she was corrupt? And to a certain extent, towards the fag end of the campaigning, which was also the critical and the crucial phase, we actually saw that little distance which was being maintained. But after that massive win in West Bengal and the eyes set on the national scene, the first big step taken by the TMC outside of the state was that of Goa. And this is where Prashant Kishore, or PK as he called, comes in. It's a known fact for Bengal observers and those who are the insiders that PK drew his strength from Abhishek Banerjee. The two of them were close. Abhishek Banerjee was very impressed with PK, and it was PK's idea that let's begin from Goa. Of course, if you look at the results over there, it proved to be a disaster for the Trinamool Congress. But I remember in many of the campaigns, Abhishek Banerjee would go there. PK thought that Goa and then Tripura could be a kind of launching pad of sorts for Abhishek Banerjee. Goa completely backfired. In Tripura, the Trinamool Congress has been able to make certain amount of inroads, but in the local elections and in the state politics, it's the Trinamool Congress which still has a long way to go. But whoever becomes the face there is one certainty, it's Abhishek Banerjee who's going to lead the pack. But let's cut back to the recent developments in West Bengal, because of which we are discussing the rise of Abhishek Banerjee. Sources say that not many were happy with the fact that Partha Chatterjee was continuing. The fact that Mamata Banerjee may have distanced herself from him was not clearly sending out the message. It was merely giving an ammunition to the BJP that his whole argument that I'm personally not corrupt, but I tolerate corruption was actually could be a boomerang on her. Similarly, the way it happened with Dr. Manmohan Singh when the UPA was in power. And therefore, the pressure mounted on Mamata Banerjee, you have to get rid of Partha Chatterjee. It was that one tweet that morning which gave away all. Kunal Ghosh tweeted to say that Partha Chatterjee must step down. Kunal Ghosh is also believed to be someone who's quite close or privy to the mind of Abhishek Banerjee. It's also a fact that Abhishek Banerjee prevailed upon Mamata Banerjee. We cannot drag our feet anymore. He has to be removed as a minister, but he also has to be removed from all the posts of the party. But behind all of this is actually the churning or the manthan which is taking place in the Trinamool Congress. There are a handful of TMC leaders who are very wary of Abhishek Banerjee. Very similar to the Rahul Gandhi camp versus the Sonia Gandhi camp in the Congress party. Every time Sonia wants to bring about a generation change, there's a deep resistance which comes in from the veterans and the seniors. Rahul Gandhi has often been criticized of being very curt, of being very bitter and mean to some of the seniors who stuck by his mother during her hard times. Mamata Banerjee is smart enough to understand that this is not the way she wants to get rid of those people who are not believed to be very fond of or confident of Abhishek Banerjee. In fact, the murmur and the speculation is that the ED did the job which Mamata Banerjee perhaps wanted to do, which Abhishek Banerjee also wanted to do. Partha Chatterjee is a list of one of those few MLAs and leaders of the Trinamool Congress who were against Abhishek Banerjee, who felt that Mamata Banerjee is the only answer and she must carry on, and Abhishek Banerjee still has a long way to go. So the exit of Partha Chatterjee actually helps the camp of Abhishek Banerjee and strengthen his power in the sense that he's managed to get rid of someone who had an opposition to him. There are several names which are still doing the rounds, Farih Hakim, Bobby Hakim, so on and so forth. We'll have to wait to see if the law catches up with them, because if the law does catch up with them and they are removed from the TMC, it does the job for Mamata Banerjee to a very great extent. And here is the thing, is the rising power of Abhishek Banerjee. No doubt about the fact that he's the one who's going to take over from Mamata Banerjee. But it's very important also to be successful, to have that tag attached to you. Again, the parallel can be drawn to Rahul Gandhi. Everyone knows that eventually Rahul Gandhi may take over the reins of the Congress party, if not immediately, maybe at a later stage. But he has the tag of being an unsuccessful politician, unlike his mother Sonia Gandhi. Abhishek Banerjee too has to earn that tag of Mamata Banerjee. But he's aggressive, he can have a national playing field because he speaks English very well, fluent in Hindi and Bangla of course. And of course he's building up his group and coterie. There are many within the TMC who have begun to understand it's also important to be on the right side of Abhishek Banerjee. Because if you are on the right side of Abhishek Banerjee, you're also on the right side of Mamata Banerjee. Mamata Banerjee is slowly but giving the space to Abhishek Banerjee, though she knows and the party knows and even Abhishek Banerjee knows that she remains the only saleable product or face of the Trinamool Congress. But you know, the image building exercise of Abhishek Banerjee has been going on for many, many days. And the power of a leader also comes in from the grip that leader has over his political party. The power to remove someone, the power to usher in someone. And what my sources are telling me is that for 2024, Abhishek Banerjee is looking for those faces where he can get rid of or replace many of the veterans or the old faces which he feels carries a baggage with them who perhaps may not win in 2024. The big challenge for the TMC to outsmart the BJP is to ensure BJP gets lesser seats than last time in the Lok Sabha elections of 2024 and the Trinamool Congress increases its kitty. But the bigger challenge for Mamata Banerjee is to ensure that her nephew is accepted by the party cadre. It's a work in progress, but the message is very clear to the cadre. Abhishek Banerjee has arrived. Do give in your reactions. Thank you so much for watching and see you again next week.